It's 11:57. Holy cow. We're just making it right in at that midnight park. That midnight point of... It's just January 26th, though. It's my birthday, guys. Yeah. It won't be my birthday. It's my 7th house birthday. You know, it's the start. It's the marking of my 7th house. The sun has moved into Aquarius. And the 26th... Actually, my solar opposition would have been days ago, you know, because I'm born at 2 degrees 34 minutes, and I know that the sun is just about ready. It's like about 3 degrees after my solar high for the year, my social high, that 7th house, that Aquarius experience for the Leo. So it's always good to know your 7th house and know about, you know, the partnerships that are gained after the, you know, the 6th house, because their 6th house crisis, the 6th house crisis generally leads to some formulation of partnerships in that 7th house. So we're in that 7th house, and we're working on, you know, developing the partnership, and with that partnership is, you know, the exchange of, you know, goodwill, right? It's something that they haven't figured out, you know. When we have war in the world, there's no exchange of goodwill, right? You know, there's only the exchange of goodwill between the governments, which is Saturn, and the Martians that are making the weapons, right? The war profiteers, you know, those people supposedly making an economy off of killing things, destroying things. So it's a very ironic world. It's a very interesting world this way. So here we go, folks. I mean, I would probably be not a starving artist if I decided I was going to be like Tony Stark and design things, you know, that hurt people. And it seems like through the times, you know, with this podcast, what we're doing tonight is, as things ramp up around the world, you know, that imperial state of mind, you know, keeps on wanting to expand over that, you know, once global community of trading. We're going to look at, what are we going to look at tonight? We're going to look at some stars, folks. We're going to look at some stars. We're going to get to understand our stars, you know, and what is our star? Our star is Jupiter and Saturn as it conjuncts. It's the most solid story about Christ that there is, that there was this star, that the wise guys, the 3 wise guys, you know, the little jokers, you know, because they were all hooked up on, you know, watching the stars and traveling by the stars. So here we go, folks. Tonight we're going to go from 66 BC all the way up to about 74 AD. We're just going to look at this timeline here to keep it simple. I want this to be direct and to the point. I mean, we're all big kids here, and this is what this playlist is all about, for the star, because I'm creating this entire playlist, and tonight we'll be looking at the conjunctions, and then we will be looking at the semi-sextiles, the sextiles, the squares, the inconjuncts, the trines, and the oppositions of Jupiter and Saturn doing their thing together. You know, it takes 20 years for Jupiter to catch back up with him. He laps Saturn, right? Saturn has not made a full turn of the zodiac by the time Jupiter conjuncts him again in 20 years after each one of these. So there's lots of interrelated cycles, you know. What will Saturn be like when he makes his Saturn return from a particular conjunction? There's all these little nooks and crannies of time that we will analyze as we prepare our youth, you know. These podcasts are just the rough drawings of my New Millennium Bible. And sharing this growth with you, you will help draw the New Millennium Bible as well to your life and your children's life and your grandchildren's life, until we don't want to trade anymore and be civil, you know? Be great stewards of the earth, right? So here we go, folks. We're going to start off 66 BC. The star was where? I got this all mapped up for us. I got Real simple, really super huge. Like, we're gonna be really quick with this tonight. We're fast learners, right? So we're gonna look at this. Isn't this amazing? We have a star that's 8 degrees, 22 minutes, and 15 seconds Pisces, right? Jupiter is dominant, Mars is dominant, Venus is exalted, and this is what we have for this. And we have this Pisces in energy, right? And this is for this February date, 66 BC, all right? This is how it works. It happened at 12 a.m., right? This is how were we really watching it? How close were the astrologers back? How close were the astrologers back then actually watching these stars? You know, looking for our new world leaders, looking for our 20-year king, okay? This is what we got to think about here, right? So when we look up here, when we look at 63, in 63, 3 years after the stars, can you see a pattern already forming when we compare our current star and our current activity? The siege of Jerusalem leads to conquest of Judea by the Romans. You know, so funny how things are, right? Because the Romans, they eventually went all the way up to Great Britain and became Great Britain, and now Great Britain's kind of trying to help, you know, Israel. Back then, it was the Romans against. What is it with this area of land? So this is 63 BC, and then we get going through here, and there's a 60 BC to 44 BC. All right, we have this as well happening. And the next chart is going to be we have the birth of Caesar Augustus. Do we have this here? Do we have Caesar Augustus? I don't think we have it on this timeline. Here's 44 BC. Julius Caesar is murdered by Marcus Brutus. Did you actually remember this from English? I mean, it's kind of history. It's a history, but it's this Julius Caesar and Marcus Brutus. I remember about, wasn't that Macbeth? Was that the Macbeth play? And then there's a Roman civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. Okay, look at the stuff that's happening right here, and this is X amount of years, because what we have after the 63, after the woohoo! Zoom up the wrong way. What we have after the 66 BC star is we have the chart for Augustus Caesar, right? And then what we have is the star of 46 BC, right? And this 46 BC star was actually, look at where the star is. We've gone from a Pisces star at 8 degrees. How peculiar is that? Sometimes you have to wonder about this, because the star was so different back then. Because here the star is, it was at 8 degrees Pisces. It completely missed that water. When Jupiter caught up to Saturn again, they completely missed that water sign, and they got together again in Leo. And look where they are. They're actually at 3 degrees Leo, 17 minutes. Yes, that's not even a minute from my sun. Both of them are together right there, conjunct my sun now. It's hilarious, isn't it, that the star is doing this right on my sun. And this is back in 46 BC. Okay, now look at this. This is what we have here, folks. This is what we have here. We have 44 BC. Before the star, the Roman Civil War between Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great, that's 49. And then after the star, Julius Caesar murdered by Marcus Brutus and others, end of Roman Republic, beginning of Roman Empire. Okay? Can you see the grip there? Because it's about 2 years after. It's right after the star actually occurs. And when we do this, we will be able to look at Caesar This one is, which one do we have for Caesar? This is Caesar Augustus. So, well, in another podcast, we can even delve deeper into the star. Look at his life. Look at his chart, and then look at the date that he was actually murdered, because I'm pretty sure that's online. All right, when we look at Julius Caesar here, why not do it? I mean, it's just a click away, right? Pontifex Maximus, 64 to 44, born 100 BC, right? Julius Caesar. So we will actually be able to look at his chart. Here he is, died. Born July 12th. He was a Cancer, right? Look at this. Would you look at this? He was born July 12th. He was a Cancer, okay? He was only, the sun was only 10 degrees away. 13 degrees away from where the star would have been. If you think about where his sun was on this, he was 55 years old, not quite up to his second Saturn return. Died 15th of March, 44, right? So that would have been just how many days left, right? Because he was born a Cancer. Look at, can you see this? He's dying in Pisces. Born a Cancer at about, I'd say he's born a Cancer around 20 degrees Cancer, I would say that's what he was. And, Cancers make great leaders, right? So, I mean, Cancers make great leaders, Leos make great leaders, Capricorns make great leaders. Yeah, occupations, politician, soldier, author. Author, yeah. Pontifex Maximus, right? Look at these. Look at the dates, though. 46 BC. Here's a 46 consul. There he is, 46 BC. That's a very important year, right? So you can see the star was actually doing in 46 BC. Stuff was actually doing stuff, because here's that 46 BC chart, and that's when he took this consul office right here in 46 to 44, right? Because that 44 time, that 44 year is when he actually basically, they assassinated him. Assassination, stab wounds. Holy cow, Mars. We're going to look at that chart, right? Mars, stab wounds, suffering. Okay. Not too fun. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, like so, to this go here. Now we're going to go down to the next chart would be our 26 star. 26 BC. And this is where we have that 3 degree. Look at, it's just like a town meeting year. Because you get the moon in Cancer at 27 degrees. The moon in Cancer for this star is actually trine my natal moon and Pisces at 26:45 minutes. It's just 1 minute out, 1 degree out. Isn't that amazing? And look at the Mercury here for this star. Mercury is where Uranus was for the Trinity test, right? Look at this for this star right here. So this is a very interesting year. I'm going to zoom out so you can get a chance to screenshot this if you want this star chart. I mean, they come up with these exact moments. As you can see, the moments are absolutely exact here. Okay, so lots of work has gone into every single one of the charts. All the charts have been basically verified, right? I mean, I've been going over all these charts for years. And all these charts are pinned. Now, this is very interesting, guys. This is a very interesting chart we have for Christ, because the star was slipping in and out of water signs and fire signs during this period. It's very interesting how the solar system was working back then. I'm not sure how much things have shifted in our orbit and what have you since then, but this is a very interesting chart to understand, because here we have on this star, for the 26 BC star, we have Jupiter and Saturn in Leo at 3 degrees, okay? And then for the 66 date, they're in Pisces at 8 degrees 22 minutes, okay? And then for the 46 star, 46 BC, you know, as we saw right here, there's some major stuff going on here. Lots of turnovers, you know. There's huge turnover in this time period. And look at where this star is on this one. The star is in Scorpio for 46 BC. And it, as I said, it slips in and out like these water signs and these fire signs during this time period. And the star is at 24 degrees, 1 minute, 2 seconds, Scorpio. That would be like conjunct my Neptune, but trine my moon. Okay, so when we look at this chart right here, as I said, there is stuff going on. All this stuff has gone on. It started after this 46 date, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy right through here. Now, yeah, no drinking tonight, guys. Just the peppermint tea and the turmeric and ginger. So it's very important to take a few nights off a week and never have over 2 beers. It's horrible for, you know, premature arthritis. So here we are for this chart. Probably took me, it's taken me my entire life to agree on a chart, to look at all the charts, because I've looked at every published chart that I could find on the internet for the suggested time for Christ. And as I said in my recent podcast talking about Christ and Santa Claus and what have you, the reason why I've gone with this is because the spiritual reference of Cancer on the ascendant in this Scorpio decant, right? The whole entire regeneration energy of Cancer in the moon. And then here we have the moon right at, what I really like about this chart is where the moon is at 14 degrees. What's very interesting about this chart is that where the moon is at 14 degrees, it's going to be in that area of the Grand Cross that happens in 2041. The moon is in that same area. I'll tell you, this Grand Cross date is very important. I have all these charts that link up to these observations that I'm bringing to the fore. I wanted this to be all more structured, and as we move along and I get more organized, I'm putting my feet to the floor here, getting about 25 years of study out of my hat. But I was going to do it in a more elegant fashion, but with how the competition is on YouTube and online with all these different astrologers, I mean, I just don't see what I'm bringing out there. I don't see it out there, and these are the unique observations I've made at the zodiac and watching the years go by and getting a good understanding about the sequence of events between these Jupiter and Saturn conjunctions, because I find that they're the most solid thing in our evolution of time since the birth of Christ. So this is my chart for Christ. It's what I picked because I think about the astrologers at night. I see where this star is, right? And I can see them traveling. But at this time period, Mercury would be conjunct Jupiter very closely. I mean, Mercury would be 8 degrees Pisces, which is very interesting because the Mercury is at 8 degrees Pisces for this chart of Christ. And why I really was fascinated with this, because it links up to the other chart here. It links up to the 66 BC chart. Mercury links up to this 66 BC chart, right? Because the conjunction is at 8 degrees 22 minutes. And I just find these things uncanny. When I'm looking at charts, I just found it very uncanny because here we have Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury's at 8 degrees 22 minutes. Jupiter is at 8 degrees 35 minutes. And then Saturn's there, and this is before the conjunction. The next chart, you can see it's very dramatic. It would be a very amazing star to look on the horizon at dawn, or at nautical dawn, or at astronomical dawn. When you look at this, because the sun would be over here, right? I mean, it's wouldn't have risen yet. You'd be able to see this. I'm a nocturnal photographer. I know what you'd be able to see. Because these are pretty bright. You can see Jupiter pretty quick. You can see Jupiter pretty bright, like when you're watching them rise, even in the morning shoots. He's a bright being. So here is the actual star, right? This is the actual star after my suggested. It's a very solid chart. I mean, if you look at the life of Christ, this gentleman would definitely be like a priest kind of guy right here, with the Pluto and Mars and all this ninth house activity of organized religion and the reforming power of Pluto and Mars together in this Virgo place. That you got that solid conjunction of these buddies hanging out together in retrograde in the third house of communications and organization. And he was a fast walker, that guy. I know Christ was a fast walker, right? And he was nasty. He got hung up because he was nasty at church, right? He was tossing tables around, right? He was losing his cool. He wasn't being too godly on the day they did this, right? But everything's it's all about stories, right? And here we are. And you look at this Pisces house, right? And you got Uranus, you got all this change. You got Uranus, and Jupiter amplifying what Saturn, Jupiter amplifying what Uranus likes to do. But you can look at this as a very strong chart. Now, we go back to, this is 7 BC, right? So when you look at 7 BC, scroll down here. What do we have for 26 BC as well, right? See, here's 27 and 22 BC. There's all this stuff going on. There's all these, basically, these turnovers of power. That's what you find with these Jupiter and Saturn conjunctions, these turnovers of power. And then here we have 26 AD to 34 AD. This is the crucifixion of Christ. I mean, look at this time window that they give you, right? Now, I'm going to go over this is 34 AD, right? I'm going to go over and solidify why I have picked the date for his birth and the day of his crucifixion, okay? This is the day I have for his crucifixion, okay? King of Kings, right? Here he is, King of Kings. Thorn of, he's got a crown of thorns. Look at your Taurus on the ascendant, 7 degrees. Okay. We have Jupiter in Cancer. For this date, you got to think about this, that Mars, there's be things going on with this, but the Sagittarius in the house of Jupiter, and then Pluto is there as well in the 8th house, right? This is Friday. This is Good Friday. Okay. It's 3 p.m., when he basically commanded his soul to be taken to the Father, right? There's an inconjunct, of course. I mean, there is actually work going on here. And then, look at this, Saturn in retrograde. This is right before the conjunction, right? This is right before the new conjunction. And this is the date, because if you look at this December 2nd, right? We're only a few days into Sagittarius, and as you know, the Sun is absolutely betrayed in Scorpio, right? And he's betrayed by Judas's kiss, right? And in Sagittarius, the Sun is pierced by Sagittarius Sagittarius's arrow, right? He had a pure side, right? This is it. And this is Good Friday. I mean, this is Friday. This is a day Friday, and this is the day at 3 p.m. This is, and it looks good, right? Most importantly, if you're looking at the sun, what he's doing, I'm more than certain that he's squared. When you're looking at Christ's chart is, he has his Virgo. He has Mars in Virgo at 19 degrees. His Mars is in Virgo at 12 degrees. His Mars would be absolutely conjunct my Venus, okay? So, but look at the Pluto. Pluto's there. And where's Pluto at? What is Pluto? Pluto's at 7 degrees. Pluto would be, the Pluto for this, for Christ would be, as I said, it's opposed. His Pluto's opposed this Jupiter thing, right? And his Mercury thing. It's perfectly opposed, right? And then when you look at the crucifixion date, you're looking at these degrees. The sun would be squared. The sun would be squared his Mars, right? And it would be squared his Pluto, right? Look at that, And we know everything. We know the words and the exchange of the Father to the Son. And we know all this. We know the stories that are wrapped up around that Calvary Hill, right? We know this. So this is it right here. I mean, we have Jupiter in the 3rd house, opposed, he's away from home in the 9th house, right? Look at this, in Cancer. So here we go. We got to look at this. That Jupiter in the 21 degrees would be, where would that be for the Christ, right? I mean, Jesus of Nazareth would be like, Jupiter would be just crossing over his 1st house, right? If this was his 1st house. It's a really good chart, right? But when you look at the node, like he had a node in Taurus, his node in Taurus would be where? What would be his node in Taurus? 9 degrees, 27 minutes, right? Taurus, it would be sextile. It would be sextile to Jupiter, right? His node would be sextile to Jupiter, right? In the 11th house of community and organizations, groups, right? There he is, the node. In that Uranus house, right? And here he would be a moon in Aquarius, right? So when we look at this, when we look at this chart, it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful chart to look at. Because when you look where the node is, okay, but he has that, where are we at here? He has that node at 9 degrees Taurus, right? That node is at 9 degrees Taurus. And when we go back to the crucifixion, right? What's going on with that? See, there's Taurus is on the ascendant at 7 degrees 45 minutes. Are you catching my drift on this? And that would be an inconjunct, right? It would be the sun would be in conjunct his node, right? Because the sun would be 11 degrees Sagittarius, which would be, basically in conjunct his node. The work. See, the charts absolutely fit together perfectly, right? And then we look at, this would happen. This is right before the star. Jupiter's catching up to Saturn, which is basically going to deliver us a new 20-year king, right? So when we look at 34, AD, this is the chart for 34 AD, right? And once again, look what's happening here. Jupiter, as I said before, during this time period, Jupiter and Saturn is jumping out of water signs and into fire signs regularly during this period. And here they are. And where are they? at the conjunction. Where are they? They're at 16 degrees, 39 minutes Leo. That's where the conjunction is. So when we go back to the proposed chart that I have for Christ, and we look at that 16-degree mark, see, there would be, the star would be in conjunct his natal Saturn. That's where the star would be, right? And then the star would be trine his natal Venus, and the star would be opposed his moon for when the star actually formed, right? I mean, look at it, it's beautiful, right? It all makes sense. The next thing, okay, from the cruise, this is the 34 AD chart, okay? Now, let's move to the next chart. I'm going to go right here. There should be one more chart here. This is the death of Claudius, okay? Death of Claudius is 54, October 13th, 54. And this is right before the star. His death is right before the star takes place. And then the star happens 54 AD. Yeah, Emperor Claudius dies and is succeeded by his grandnephew Nero, okay? Emperor Nero commits suicide in 68, right? And look at this. Destruction of Jerusalem by armies of Titus at 70. Destruction of Pompeii by the volcano Vesuvius, right? And then that basically takes us from this star, as I said, the star for 54 AD pops back into Pisces, right? And where's that star at then? He's at 20. The star's at 28 degrees. And if we want to go back 28 degrees Pisces, the star is at 28 degrees Pisces, which would be conjunct my natal moon, right? Holy cow. Is that crazy or what? So now, when we look at the death of Claudius, and we look for that 28 degree mark, look. Woohoo! Is that crazy or what? Let's go back here. This thing's doing weird stuff. Oh, what did it just do? Okay, sorry. I don't know. I hit something wrong. So when we looked at this, death of Claudius, right? Uranus would be 28 degrees. The moon would be 25 degrees. The Uranus would be 26 degrees Scorpio, right? That's where Claudius, the death of Claudius happened. Uranus is 20 degrees. And here's where Jupiter and Saturn are in retrograde before the death of Claudius. And that's the wrong chart to look at. Here we go. Over here. And as I said before, we can see what's happening here. Jupiter and Saturn would be trine the Uranus of when he was. Well, he's trying there. They're trying right now because Uranus hasn't moved that far. He's at 28 degrees. See, Uranus only moved so far. What we do is, in our next episode, we bring out the birth date of Claudius as well, right? I didn't want to go too far into it. I'm just showing you these patterns, right? I'm showing you these patterns. Now comes the 74 AD chart, right? Jupiter, as I said before, Jupiter and Saturn has gone from being conjunct in Pisces, and they've jumped back over again. They don't do this. They don't do this in our modern time. Like, they've been conjuncting in Earth signs for hundreds of years. And during this period, they were doing some crazy stuff. They were going from water to fire constantly. I do not understand why another astrologer doesn't have this playlist on their YouTube channel. I think this is the meat and bones of our astrology, of our life, is to know these conjunctions and how they're working, because we are taught how the importance of the like Jupiter returns and the Saturn returns and everything like this. But what about these conjunctions during our life? If our children knew this stuff before the first Jupiter return at age 12, how much more intelligent, how much more wise will our children be with their daily actions? Think about it, right? It's about higher learning. To know these conjunctions. I wish I knew this stuff when I was 8. I would have been in love with it. So when we're looking at this star right here, as I said, this star happens at 10 degrees 41 minutes. Sorry, that's wrong. This star happens. What have we done here? This is not a proper star here. Is this a particular date? This was drawn before. What was this happening? What day was this? February 1st, 74 AD. Yeah, this is right in this time period. Destruction of Jerusalem. This happened before the star. Sorry, but this is not the exact chart that I want here. The Jupiter is still... It would be maybe another month until the actual conjunction. I mean, we could look at it really quick here to show you how long it takes, right? Go in here like this. I'm really fast, I'll make it really quick. And then we'll be calling it a day here. So so what's this date do we have? It's February 1st. So we're going to jump to February 25th. That's what we're going to do. And this is in Rome. This will never give me that. I got to go in here first. Rome. Italy. Look at that, eh? Is that psychic or what? Philadelphia. Okay, Rome. Gotta be right here, eh? Don't you think? I would say that's the place. And calculate. So Rome, that's wrong because edit. I'm so funny, right? It's just for last right here. Gotta put this here. Calculate. So where is this? Because what I have here is February 1st. This is Jupiter would be right over. See, he's hiding. Where the heck is there? Saturn right here. What happened to Jupiter? This is 1974. Funny boy, eh? 74. February. We want Rome. Calculate. Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, Jupiter is still some point away, right? Edit chart. Let's go MAR. It's gonna be at least a month. Calculate. Almost there. 8 degrees. See, you know, it's they're racing, right? The planets are actually moving slow here. Go April. Calculate. See, Jupiter still has that. Is he retrograde? He's in retrograde, eh? So what you gotta do is go like this. So funny, right? April. Let's go. Calculate. Close? Holy cow, am I close? Was that a good guess or what? Okay, edit again. See, I'm showing you how fast you can get at this. Let's go September. Calculate. Jupiter's almost catch them, right? It's only edit chart. October. Calculate. Perfect. Look at that, eh? This is close enough, guys. This should be in just the next day or so, right? I mean, next maybe edit chart. Let's say 27, 28. Let's go 28. Let's go 3 days. Oh, is that close or what? So close, right? 1 day. Let's go 29. Woohoo! Uh-oh, he's gone past. Edit. Now we just go back this way. Calculate. So close, eh? That's close enough, guys. So we got October 29th, 74 AD. It's not going to have anything that close, but when we look at the Jupiter Saturn, you can see it's 10 degrees Sagittarius. It's on that trade over period going into that Aries house, right? And we can see the energy. You can see the energy. It's Sagittarius. It would be Sagittarius Aries, right? That would be the decant that this would be in for a Scorpio moon at 4 degrees. And we can look at the stuff that's going on here afterwards, right? 74. This is the destruction of Jupiter 4 years prior, and then 5 years after we have the destruction of Pompeii by the Vesuvius. We could even look at that. We could look at the date that went off. That's 70. That's 79. That's 5 years after. But that way, excuse me, I'm just getting dried out. But that would be after the square. The square would be within. I mean, our square would happen right now. We're 2024, 4 years after this date right here would be 78, which would be the first square. So we're looking at probably the trine, or in conjunct when this volcano went off, right? Well, this is another episode. But you can see the workings of Jupiter and Saturn, guys. I hope you enjoy this podcast. It went a little long. But track that star. Do your own research. I'm way too dried out now. It's very dry today. Thanks for stopping in. My new day starts in about an hour, so we still have a fair amount of work to do before we upload this. I'll talk to you later, and hope you enjoyed to learn.